Hello! Today we're going to be making grilled carrots with a yogurt cumin lime sauce. And this is one of those recipes that you can make year-round if you have access to your grill, but it's also a recipe that really fits in with staples that you should have or more than likely have in your home. So we're going to use about a pound of carrots. This is going to serve about 2 to 3 people, so you can always scale this up if you'd like, everything evenly. I have about 6 scallions here that we're going to also grill. We're going to use about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to use about 1 teaspoon of the ground cumin, a full cup of Greek yogurt. If you don't have Greek yogurt, just make sure you get unflavored yogurt. You can strain it and you can use that. A quarter of a cup of lime juice, and we're going to use a little bit of this serrano chili because I don't like it too spicy. So you can add as much of this as you'd like, depending on how hot you like your food. It goes in at the end of making the yogurt dip sauce. So you can taste it as you go and see how much you want to add. I'm not going to put very much, so I don't actually give you an amount here because that really is to your taste. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make our yogurt sauce. So I've got my whisk. We're going to go ahead and put in our yogurt into our bowl. If you don't have your own Greek yogurt like I do, which I make about every other week, just get some plain yogurt, strain it overnight, and you'll have a nice thick yogurt to work with. And it'll be a little tangy, which is really wonderful. Okay, so we've got our yogurt, and I make a little bit of extra here. It's going to look like a lot for the amount of carrots. You're right, it is. I do that on purpose because I really like that. We're going to put in our cumin, about a teaspoon of cumin. This is a wonderful flavor if you haven't used it before. We're going to put in about a quarter of a cup of lime juice, freshly squeezed lime juice. And that's what's so great about having a reamer. You get all that juice out. It's probably a little bit more than I need, but it's great flavor, so I am not going to complain. And then we're going to put about a tablespoon of olive oil, and that's it. We're going to whisk this all together. And if you can let this sit overnight, it'll be even better. Check the flavor if you've let it sit overnight, because it will develop a bit more, which is what I'm going to actually technically do with this. You might want to add some more cumin at that point. I'm going to go ahead and taste it now. Oh my God, it's so good. Because I know it's going to be super tangy. Delicious. Okay, so we've got our yogurt sauce ready to go. Now we're going to do the really hard part of prepping carrots. You're going to laugh at me. Here's the preparation for the scallions. Boom. I cleaned them. I peeled off anything that didn't look, kosher. If these were bigger, like these are really small. So if these were bigger, I would cut them lengthwise in half, but these are not very big. So I've got these ready to go. So they go on my sheet pan. But here we're just going to take our carrots, and my countertop is clean. I'm just going to go ahead and peel my carrots. And I wanted to make sure the carrots that I chose are all evenly sized. Get rid of the end there. And then aside from just cutting off the tops, that's all you have to do for the carrots. This is a really nice and easy preparation. You can make this on a weeknight, or you can make it to impress your friends for a dinner party. It does look really pretty once you plate it all up. So just get the rest of our carrots peeled. And all of our peelings are going to go in our chicken stock freezer bag that we save up. So none of this is going to go to waste, including the ends, which I'm going to cut off once we're done. There we go. And I only made a pound because this is going to be for like a weeknight dinner. I don't want to have a lot of leftovers from it. I like to make the carrots fresh each time. But the yogurt sauce, because I'm making a little extra, will be around if I want to make some more later in the week. And that's it. That's the prep for the carrots. Like I said, I really love this recipe because it is so darn quick and easy to make. So all you have to do at this point, aside from cleaning up your work area, cleaned up, I'm going to trim off the ends of the carrots. I'm going to leave the scallions looking kind of rustic by leaving the roots on. But I am going to trim these off, and I'm going to trim up the carrots a bit so that they're super evenly sized so that everything cooks the same. So we're going to do that right now. Okay, so we're going to trim up our carrots, and we're going to make sure everybody's fairly evenly sized. So first, I'm going to take both ends off. Oh, I didn't do a good job there. All right, let's trim this off. And we'll trim off these two. All right, so like we said, every time, these will go in the chicken stock pot. Aromatics. I'm going to leave these to be rather large so that they don't fall through when I'm actually cooking them. But I do want to cut them in half, so I'm going to carefully, because this is round, cut through. And depending on the size, I may choose to cut through again. On these, right now I'm going to leave them. I think this one should be okay. There we go. This one, we're going to cut them all in half. Just want to be careful because it's round, and round things don't always cut easily. I have gone and gotten stitches from cutting carrots like this. All right, but we want everything fairly even. All right, last one. I'm going to start this way. This one's rather thick. But the thing about carrots is they're very sweet. This one's rather thick, so I'm going to cut it one more time. There we go. A little bit of camera action at the same time. Don't you love that? All right, so because I didn't cut this one very well here at the bottom, I'm actually going to cut this in half so that, again, everything will cook through evenly. And now the only thing we have to do here, literally, is put another tablespoon of olive oil and put just a teeny bit of salt. But the salt is not necessary. I'm going to put this in the fridge, ready, prepped. And when I'm ready to use this, which will be for the next night's dinner, I'm going to go ahead and add the olive oil and the salt. Okay? So it's time to get our carrots seasoned. We're going to put a little bit of salt, and we're going to toss them with a little bit of olive oil, about a tablespoon of olive oil. Same thing with our scallions. This is going to help with the grilling process. I'm going to just make this a shaker as opposed to pouring. And just get some salt on here. And that's it. I'm just going to toss this stuff around, get it onto a very nicely heated grill. It doesn't have to be super hot. These are going to cook for about 10 or 15 minutes, just depending. We're going to get them nice and charred, and the carrots are going to soften just a bit. The scallions, as you can see, are much smaller in size, so they're going to cook much quicker. And it's okay that this gets served at room temperature, so I'm not worried about one cooking faster than the other in this case. I'm going to put everything back on this same sheet pan. So I'm going to go ahead and get that grill going, and we're going to get this ready Just finish tossing here. Yep. All right, so we're going to take this out to the grill once it's hot, and we're going to start grilling them up. Okay, so last but not least, I'm going to cut up my serrano chili, and we're going to add some of it to our yogurt sauce. Not a lot, but remember, as time goes by, the flavor will develop, and I know that looks rather chintzy, but I don't care for things to be too spicy. So we're just gonna cut that up. So it'll give us a little bit of heat. I know it looks really chintzy, but it packs a wallop, in my opinion. So I'm gonna put just a teeny bit more. But again, this is really up to you how much you put in there. Whatever you want. But I suggest that you try it, see what works for you before you go ahead and add too much, so that you know what your tolerance is for the spiciness level, as it were. All right, so we'll get that in there. Oh, there we go. All of the bits. All right, so I'm going to transfer this out of this container and put it into a storage container so that it can sit overnight, because I'm going to use this for a meal that I'm making tomorrow. And I'll put it all together and I'll show you how it all looks after we grill up those carrots. All right, so our grill is nice and hot. We've cleaned it off from, our last use as well. You always want to make sure you clean your grill off. We're just going to add the carrots flat side down. And I'm going to add them like this just because of the way my grates are. Remember, we're just going to cook them through. This can be one of those things where it's really to your preference. But I like my carrots to still have a little bit of bite to them, and they will after this, but they're not going to be crunchy. So if you have a charcoal grill, you can have your hot side and your cold side. My grill has sections going this way, but I have the whole grill kind of set to the same medium temperature right now. So I don't want everything to get like super black, especially my greens. They will cook very quickly. And again, remember, I'm not worried about that. But I do want my carrots to kind of cook through and not just be blackened. So this really comes down to preference, how you like to have them cooked. The first time that you do it, kind of follow the recipe, and then you can decide, how much more or less you want to do it. So I tend to keep this open the first time I do a recipe that I haven't done before, just to see how things are cooking. And the one thing that you will notice when you're doing the scallions, see the greens are hollow inside at the top, where this part is full of, product, if you will, or more of the scallion itself. These are kind of like the leaves, and they don't have as much. They're going to brown much sooner. So if you have a cooler part of your grill, if you don't want those to get browned too fast, make sure that they're facing that side. So I'm going to close this up, and in a couple minutes I will check everything, move things around. The carrots, depending on how thick they are and how high you have your grill, will take anywhere between about, I'd say, between 10 and 15 minutes. So this isn't one of those super duper fast cooking dishes if you want to make sure that you cook it through, because remember, these are very hard, very dense, where the scallions, as by comparison, are not as dense. So they're going to cook a lot faster. And you'll see next time I open this up how different they'll look. All right, so our temperature has come up again I have it coming up to about 350. So I'm going to take my scallions and just kind of flip them over. You see those grill marks on them. Makes them look pretty, but they'll also taste really good. So we're not gonna char these. We're just gonna let them brown up just a little bit more, and having the olive oil on them helps. Now, if you're curious about where the carrots are in the same time frame, this is about where we put our first one, and you can see while it has a little bit of grill marks, it's nowhere near being done. So we're just going to leave our carrots as they are and let them continue to cook. Now it's time to get these scallions off. They're going to overcook. You see, we've got them where they're brown. They're nice and brown. They're nice and wilted, but they're not black. We don't want them to be charred. Okay. All told, it's been about 15 minutes, maybe 12. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off because I know from a feel standpoint, you see how this one just kind of bends a little, but it's not super soggy, if you will. These are going to continue to cook just a bit more as I'm preparing my dish for plate up. So I'm just going to take them off, putting them on my sheet pan, which has gotten very hot in the sun. It's kind of hard to hold, but there you go. We have our grilled carrots and our grilled green onions. So we're going to go ahead and get those ready for plate up. Okay, so we have our carrots fully cooked. So we're going to start by just kind of getting the plate ready itself. And put a dollop or two of the yogurt. That's our Cumin yogurt. And just start to put our carrots on here. Not everything has to be perfect. As you can see, my camera work isn't perfect today either. And remember, we also have our grilled onions that we can spread around and make everything look pretty. So I reserved some of the carrot yogurt that we've created just to put a little bit more on the side for people to be able to use their spoon and get some of that. So if you would like to try a fairly straightforward and easy side dish, grilled carrots with a cumin serrano yogurt, I'm telling you, if you try this, you're going to find that right there is delicious. Enjoy!